London. Pulling in the punters, how pubs are getting ready after months of lockdown.
I'm at Alexandra Palace Beer Garden, where they're preparing to welcome customers back with outdoor drinking permitted from Monday.
Also tonight.
Make that call, and that's what this campaign is truly showing, that we've made harder calls.
A plea from mothers of knife crime victims to help police stop the violence. Plus, we reveal which London borough now has the lowest rate of COVID vaccinations in England, and the first-time actors from Hackney hotly tipped for the BAFTAs. We speak to the cast of Rocks. Good evening and welcome to the programme. I'm Alice Bandukravi. It's just a few days until we reach a major milestone in the government's roadmap out of lockdown. Pub owners are gearing up to welcome back customers again in what will be a welcome boost to the economy. And welcome news too for those wanting to catch up with friends. They'll now be able to meet up for outdoor drinking and dining. Our reporter Chris Slegg is at Alexandra Palace for us this evening, where they're preparing to welcome hundreds of punters at a time. Chris, tell us more.
Yeah, stunning views here, Alice, at Alexandra Palace. And yeah, they're getting their outdoor beer garden, the terrace, ready to reopen. They can serve up to 400 socially distant customers here at any one time. Now, of course, not everywhere in London has the luxury of operating on that scale, but so many pubs and bars and restaurants with any outdoor space, for them, Monday just can't come quick enough after so many months of lockdown. And Emma North can tell us more.
There are signs that it's been a while since a pint was pulled at the Prince George in Dalston. But Monday marks a fresh start for London's pubs and restaurants. And if the government's plans hold fast, the doors will be open for good.
You go through different stages of nervous, excited, but I've had a couple of good days here, so I'm at the excited stage, I'm ready to go. I'm a bit of a pro at it now. I think we all are pros. I was speaking to all my manager friends, like, do that, do that. We don't even read the stuff that comes from head office anymore, we just get on with it.
And for many, there's lots of catching up to do.
I've got one or two bars booked as well, and a few bottomless brunches as well, yeah.
I do miss my restaurants, especially like Oriental food, Chinese restaurants.
Very excited. I've already got a table booked for Thursday at the one just round the corner.
Despite all the excitement, it's estimated that only 4 out of 10 pubs will be reopening on Monday. And it's led to criticism about the amount of support given to the hospitality industry when it comes to reopening. And with London even more affected because of the lack of outside space, campaigners argue next week should see places open both outdoors and in.
As the weather changes, people are going to start going to the supermarket more, where you can buy as much alcohol as you want, unchallenged, and people will be mixing. Now, I agree there is a virus here, so we need to be responsible, and these people need to be in safe, secure environments that we have been asked to create, and we have created. We've done that. So we should be open.
The government is sticking to the roadmap it laid out in February. In Walthamstow, business is slowly coming back, with pubs putting in orders. But before the pandemic, they'd brew 4 times a week. Now they're working at half that rate.
I think there's a little bit of cautiousness around reopening because it is outside only, and not every pub has outside space. So we did consider that in our forecast. By next weekend, we'll have a much better idea of how many pubs will be open and what the demand will be.
1 in 5 jobs in hospitality were lost last year, with London hit the hardest. Opening the terraces, pavements and beer gardens is a step forward, and full bookings show many of us are ready to go back out there. But with the weather and the virus to factor in, we can't quite go over the top just yet. Emma North, BBC London.
Well, so much relief for the industry. Let's hear now from the Deputy Chief Executive here at Alexandra Palace, Emma Dargnies. Emma, you opened after lockdown the beer garden last summer. How did that go, and how will it compare this time round?
Well, we had a phenomenal response last time, but obviously I think this time it's different because we've learned so much from that experience, and we're also going to be able to enhance what we do this time round with a bit of extra entertainment. We have buskers, we have comedy later in the summer. So I think people, as well as being able to enjoy seeing their friends and family again, will have an amazing experience coming to Alexandra Palace.
How difficult is it to do all that, though, get all that enthusiasm back, but also remain safe and socially distanced?
Well, I think the one thing I can say about the team at Alexandra Palace is they are enthusiastic no matter what, and the amount of hard work that has gone on behind the scenes to make this happen. We always operate securely, we always operate safely, during COVID times or not. So we will deliver something exceptional for our customers on Monday.
Relief for the customers and also for the staff, I guess.
Absolutely, and also for our supply chain. You know, so many of them freelance, production staff, technical staff, and the fact that they are back and able to work with us is really phenomenal for everyone involved.
Well, Emma, we really wish you all the very best for the coming weeks and months ahead, and all of your staff and all of the customers returning back here. Good luck. And just a reminder of what else is going to be opening up from Monday. A real relief for very many of us. Hairdressers are able to open up. We can get a haircut again. Barbers, non-essential indoor retail from Monday. And as we've been hearing, outdoor spaces at bars, pubs and restaurants, maximum groups of 6. It won't be indoor, possible to drink indoor until next month. And also indoor gyms and leisure centres from Monday as well. But social distancing means very few are going to be anywhere near to their capacity. But at least now, not for everyone, of course, many difficult times ahead. But for others, for many, just after so long, so many dark weeks and months, there is now some respite and some light at the end of the tunnel. Alice.
Absolutely. Chris, thanks very much for that. Meanwhile, new figures have been released today showing the rate of COVID immunisation across the country. They show one London borough has the lowest take-up of anywhere in England. It comes as the government has been urging people to get the AstraZeneca COVID jab, despite a possible link to extremely rare blood clots. Well, our correspondent Carl Mercer joins me now with the details. What have you found?
Yeah, it was Thursday, so it's Vaccination Statistics Day, and we've been following this for months, haven't we? And we've noticed that London has always been at the bottom of the list. It lags a long way behind the rest of the country. But interestingly, over the last couple of weeks, we spotted something with one particular London borough. In Westminster, the figures are so much worse even than the London figures. Let's have a look, and you can see how badly they compare. Let's start with the over 80s. And this was a group that started being immunised back on December the 8th, so that's 4 months ago today. Westminster has vaccinated just 61% compared to the England average of 95%. Bad enough. But then you run through some of the other cohorts that have been vaccinated. The 65 to 69-year-olds, Westminster, again, just 61%. The rest of the country, if we look at what the England average is, 94%. And it's a similar story, unfortunately, for the latest batch to be vaccinated, the 50 to 54-year-olds, 60% in Westminster. The rest of the country, up at 87%. So you can see how far Westminster is lagging, not just behind London, but certainly the rest of the country.
And Carl, what do you put this really low take-up down to?
Yeah, I think there was an element of what's been happening in the rest of London. There is clearly a much bigger vaccine hesitancy here in London, more difficult to reach communities sometimes, and some hesitancy within certain communities to take the vaccine. But I think there was also there was an issue with Westminster in itself, that so many people move in and out of Westminster. So perhaps the population figures aren't right for Westminster. So it looks like there are more people in Westminster, and so the percentage being vaccinated will be lower. But that isn't the whole answer. There is clearly something going wrong with the local systems of trying to vaccinate people.
And so what are the authorities doing about it?
Well, we had a statement from North West London NHS today. We contacted them and the council, and they said they are now meeting the council on a weekly basis. They say that they realise that the current rates of vaccination, they say, remain disappointing. They're having these weekly meetings. They are also now trying to do vaccinations much closer to home because they say that will work better.
Well, thanks very much for that important story. Carl Mercer, thanks. Some of the other stories making the news today now, and almost 3/4 of workers in London plan to make changes to their careers in the next year because of the pandemic. Research by the finance company Aviva found a growing number of people want new skills and qualifications or to switch jobs. The most popular change listed was the desire to work from home. There's to be targeted testing in an area in South London after the South African variant of COVID-19 was found. Southwark Council is sending letters to 2,000 homes in South Bermondsey, asking residents to take a test if they have symptoms and to consider being tested even if they're asymptomatic. More than 80 postcode areas are affected. And Buckingham Palace will open its gardens to the public this summer. Visitors will be able to wander around and explore the Queen's private 39-acre grounds unguided for the first time, as well as enjoy a picnic on the lawn. The Royal Collection Trust said that it was overwhelmed by the demand for tickets. Five mothers have been sharing the stories of their murdered sons to urge Londoners to speak up about knife crime. They've been speaking out as part of a campaign launched today by the Metropolitan Police and Crime Stoppers. Greg Mackenzie has the story.
After my Archie was murdered, I had to call up about getting him embalmed.
Reliving the realisation that your son isn't coming home. 19-year-old Archie Beston, murdered in Kingston last year.
Every single day is torture. I wake up in Archie's bed and it takes me hours to get out of his bed because I just lay there wishing I was dead. As soon as I open my eyes and I'm going, I'm still here. Why am I still here? Let me be with my Arch.
Today's campaign is about highlighting the importance of coming forward if you have information about knife crime in the capital.
If that phone call was made, my Archie would be with me now. So I am urging everybody, you see something, go and report it. It's anonymous.
I called my mum and I said, Mum, Dwayne's been stabbed.
Lorraine Jones's son, Dwayne Simpson, was just 20 when he was stabbed through the heart. He tried to save another boy's life in Brixton in South London.
I had to call my mum while seeing my son on the street with his chest open, lying in his blood. If you hear a scream, if you see something, if you've, seen a knife, if you're hearing a woman crying out, make that call. And that's what this campaign is truly showing, that we've made harder calls, but please make that call.
This year alone, there have been 30 murders in the capital, 22 of which were stabbings.
This is the Met's #1 priority, and we know that people out in streets and estates, in their homes, have information that would be useful. Sometimes quite small bits of information. They may be, for all sorts of reasons, frightened to talk directly to us. They can call Crime Stoppers anonymously. They won't be traced, and it might help save a life.
The films will be played across media, targeting women who may have a close relationship to someone on the periphery of knife crime, to simply report vital information. Greg Mackenzie, BBC London.
Lots more to come tonight, including the first-time actors from Hackney, hotly tipped for the BAFTAs. We speak to the cast of Rocks. Meet DJ Zell, the 11-year-old who goes to school in Newham, the borough worst hit by COVID-19. She's using her music skills to help spread the message of hope and to raise money for pupils who've missed out on schooling to go to homework clubs. Tara Welsh has the story.
It's not often we get to see live music these days, and this isn't any school performance.
That song is a song to give a person who listens to that song courage and to know that they should never give up.
What are you gonna do? Zelda, known as DJ Zell, is trying to raise money for Homework Club so her classmates can catch up on what they've missed. The last year's been tough on everyone. The head teacher has been in school every day except Christmas and Boxing Day. And she's been personally affected by the pandemic.
We've had lots of bereavements. I myself lost my mum in September, and it was quite a difficult, very difficult time. And because of that, I could directly relate to families who also had bereavement.
Newham has been one of the areas hit hardest by the coronavirus. We asked Year 6 students what they had found most difficult.
I miss seeing my grandparents. It was just a massive roller coaster which just stopped and was very bumpy.
I live in a one-bedroom flat with 4 of my other sisters and my mum and dad. It was quite crowded because sometimes we had Zoom meetings and then we couldn't hear the teacher properly because other people had also meetings online.
At the beginning of the lockdown, my mum got laid off, so it was really hard for us, but then she got a job.
My grandma is in Poland and we can't travel to her.
One of the big concerns during the pandemic was what the long-term effects for children would be, particularly those from disadvantaged backgrounds. Now, Newham had challenges before the pandemic. It's one of the poorest areas in the UK, and more than half of children live in poverty here.
I was extremely proud of you all.
They're already doing some catch-up classes here, and the head teacher's confident these children can succeed.
We know the impact that deprivation can have. As a matter of fact, a part of our vision statement is that we will challenge status quo and we will put into the heads of our children, in the minds and the hearts of our children, you can overcome anything.
And these Year 6s are hopeful about life after the coronavirus.
I want to be a doctor, mainly one that can help children, and this pandemic has influenced me because the NHS, they always help out people. I still want to be a doctor, maybe a pediatric doctor.
It's made me feel more grateful and for everything that I have.
Now everybody shout, I feel like hope. Tara Welsh, BBC London.
Really inspirational kids there. Now, the Green candidate for Mayor, Sian Berry, has launched her manifesto with a focus on green jobs, fairer tube fares and more help for tenants in private and public housing. But her key demand for the power to impose rent controls was dismissed today by a government minister. Here's our political editor, Tim Donovan.
On an estate threatened with demolition, with a tenant who might lose her home, the Green candidate has built her manifesto around more protection for all people renting.
A mayor who will not stop pushing for the powers we need over housing and renting. Our manifesto is full of fresh thinking for housing, with a clear plan to keep London moving and a mission to transform our economy and build a real green recovery.
She also commits to invest in thousands of green jobs, extend the ultra-low emission zone across all London and introduce a single flat fare on the tube. She would cancel the planned Silvertown Road tunnel under the Thames.
I think Londoners are looking for new ideas, things that aren't currently being tried, like flattening the fares, improving public transport for people, and a smart, fair road charging system to help pay for that and to pay for the new investment we need into better ways to get around. There are lots and lots of gaps in what the current mayor is doing, and there are some things he's doing that need to be stopped, like the Silvertown Road tunnel, which will make traffic worse, which will not help with air pollution, is a waste of over £2 billion. So I think people are starting to realise that if they want a real green mayor, they have to vote Green in this election.
But one of her key demands for the power to impose rent controls was flatly rejected today by the Minister for Housing.
Look, rent controls are not the answer. We've seen that in the past. Rent controls were scrapped a long time ago because they were leading to poor quality housing and good, responsible landlords not wanting to be part of the market.
He was visiting this asphalt plant to back Tory candidate Sean Bailey's pledge for 100,000 part rent, part buy homes in which you can buy a share of up to £100,000. Would this come at the price of more affordable, cheaper homes to rent?
Well, we want to do both. I want to see more homes of all types and tenures built in London, and I want a mayor that's actually going to get that done and get those homes built. What Sean Bailey is offering is a productive and constructive relationship with central government so that we do build those homes that Londoners desperately need. And yes, I do think we should have more shared ownership properties as well.
Sadiq Khan insists he's not been given enough money to build the affordable homes he promised in 2016. His opponents say they could build more and better. Tim Donovan, BBC London.
And other candidates standing for Mayor of London include Valerie Brown for the Burning Pink Party. She says her emphasis is on inequality and she believes a mayor needs to consult citizen assemblies on key issues before making decisions.
We need to change the system of government and put the power in the hands of the people. And this is done through citizens' assemblies. This election, for me, is a really important one because we need systemic change. And the mayoral election, if I win, is a step in the direction, a bold step, to begin the transition from the power in the hands of politicians to power in the hands of the people.
The Renew Party is putting up Kamran Baliev as its candidate for mayor. He wants to transform the financing of services in the capital by getting more money from global technology companies in what he calls a new economy.
I want to team up with the big tech. I want to be working with the big tech because they are the only ones who's got the money. And we have to recognize that new oil of the 21st century is data. Data is gold. Data is cash, and I want to unlock the data potential of our capital, and this will be new source for money for our capital.
And for the full list of who's standing on the 6th of May, you can go to the BBC London website. The details are on your screens now. It's the gritty, uplifting story of a teenager living in Hackney abandoned by her mother. The cast, mostly young women, are all first-time actors recruited from local schools, and they've won plaudits from audiences and critics alike. In fact, the film Rocks has been nominated for a whopping 7 BAFTAs this weekend. Aisha Baksh has been speaking to the writers and cast of one of the year's biggest movie success stories.
Hi, I'm not here right now, so if you'd like to leave a message.
It's a tale of survival and friendship.
How's your mum doing?
Yeah, she's fine.
Yeah?
The film Rocks was inspired by and filmed entirely in East London, and it's now been nominated for several prestigious BAFTA awards.
Like every day I ask myself, bruh, like, is this actually real? Like, am I actually doing this profession of acting? Nominated for these awards, it kind of, it still feels very surreal and like hard to digest.
You smell!
The young teenage cast was taken from local schools and youth clubs in Islington and Hackney, and the dialogue was often improvised.
These are your clients? Yeah, I'm going to be a millionaire.
It was just us vibing and chilling, and I feel like everyone thinks, these girls were playing themselves. We weren't playing ourselves because we were in a different circumstance with different people.
The film shows the contribution British African communities have made to London life, as well as the struggles and joys many different women share. And the crew on set was 75% female.
There's an energy between all the women in there that we knew we were telling a story that was so special, and every single person was carrying that story because it mattered to them. And everybody had a personal angle on it.
We
have for so long celebrated what it means to be our version of British, which is multicultural and diverse and filled with different languages and dialects and food. And it's just really nice to share that with the world and to see others respond so curiously and compassionately and excitedly.
Women are superheroes. I always say that from young to old. And